What if the difference between a true Christian and a false one isn't what you do? I know. You've probably watched videos that say, if you do this, you're fake. If you don't do that, watch out. And you came out of that video more confused than when you went in, more guilty, more insecure. Thinking, oh, could I be one of those people? This video is different. Here, I'm not going to give you a list of behaviors to evaluate yourself on. I'm going to show you something that almost no one explains, and that completely changes the way you see your faith. Stay until the end, because what I'm about to tell you in the last few minutes might be the most liberating thing you've ever heard about your spiritual life. If this type of content resonates with you, subscribe to the channel. This video might be exactly what someone you know needs to hear. Let me describe a scene to you. See if you recognize yourself in it. Sunday morning, you're at church. Everyone around you seems to be feeling something, raising their hands, crying, worshiping intensely. And you're standing there, trying to feel something. Anything. But inside, nothing. Silence. Emptiness. And that thought hits you. What's wrong with me? Or else, you pray at night. You say the right prayer. You ask for forgiveness. You talk to God. But it seems like your words hit the ceiling and bounce back. You don't feel an answer. You don't feel His presence. And you start to think, does God really hear me? Am I really His? Or worse, you fall into the same sin. Again, the one you promised you'd never commit again. The one that makes you feel like the most hypocritical person in the world. You kneel, ask for forgiveness, promise to change, and 3 days later, you're back in the same place. And then comes the heaviest thought of all. If I were a true Christian, I wouldn't be living like this. I need to tell you something. If you found yourself in any of these situations, pay attention. Because the problem might not be what you think. Most of us grew up hearing, directly or indirectly, that being a Christian is about doing the right things, reading the Bible every day, praying always, not sinning, going to church, serving, tithing. And when we fail to maintain this standard, the conclusion seems obvious. I failed. I am fake. I am worthless. But here's the problem that nobody explains. This entire line of reasoning is reversed. The mistake isn't a lack of effort. It's not that you're not trying hard enough. The mistake is much deeper. It's the idea that the Christian faith is, in essence, a set of outward behaviors you need to maintain to prove you're saved. This isn't Christianity. This is performance-based religion. And it destroys people from the inside. Because the more you try, the more you fail. And the more you fail, the further you feel from God. And then you get into a cycle of guilt, effort, failure, and more guilt. A cycle that was never God's plan for your life. Now pay attention, because this is the heart of everything. There is a huge difference between external change and internal transformation. And that difference is the key that separates religion from relationships. External change is when you change what you do because of pressure, fear, shame, or habit. You stop doing certain things because you were told that Christians don't do that. You start doing others because you were told that Christians do that. But inside, nothing has really changed. You are acting like a Christian without having been transformed inside. It's like painting over a moldy wall. On the outside, it looks nice, but inside, the problem continues to grow. Internal transformation is different. It's when something changes at the root. It's not that you stop sinning because you've learned to control yourself. It's that your desires begin to change. Slowly, little by little, you start wanting different things. Not overnight, not perfectly, but realistically. And here's something almost no one talks about. This doesn't happen as an instantaneous event. It's not like accepting Jesus in a church service and being a different person the next day. Think of a seed. When you plant a seed, it doesn't become a tree the next day. It germinates in the dark, without anyone seeing it. It grows slowly. It faces rain, strong sun, wind. Sometimes it seems like it's not growing, but it is. The root is deepening even when you don't see anything on the surface. This is how true spiritual life works. It's not a visible spectacle. It's an invisible process that bears fruit over time. And this means something very important for you who are feeling like a failure right now. Fighting against sin doesn't mean you're deceitful. It means exactly the opposite. Think about it. If you were a false Christian, why would sin bother you? Why would you feel guilty? Why would you be watching this video right now? worried about your salvation. A person who has nothing of God within them simply doesn't care. They sin and move on. They live far from God and sleep peacefully, but not you. You fall and it hurts. You make mistakes and feel the weight. You drift apart and feel homesick. This is not a sign of spiritual death. This is a sign of life. The problem was never falling. The problem is falling and not caring. If you fell and are here, seeking to understand, wanting to change, feeling the weight of what you did, your faith is more alive than you imagine. That guilt you feel, it could be God's voice calling you back. Not to condemn you, but to restore you. There's a huge difference between condemnation and conviction. Condemnation says, "You're hopeless, give up." Conviction says, "You made a mistake, but come back, I'm here." Let me simplify 3 things that many people overcomplicate. The first is grace. Grace is God doing for you what you could never do for yourself. You are not saved because you tried hard enough. You are saved because God decided to love you before you deserved anything. Salvation is not a salary you receive for good behavior. It is a gift you receive empty-handed. The second is new birth. When the Bible speaks of being born again, it's talking about something God does within you. It's not an intellectual decision. It's not repeating a prayer. It's God planting a new life within you, a life that will grow, that will fight against sin, that will trouble you when you stray. That's why you feel what you feel. That seed has been planted. The third is the process of being transformed. You won't become perfect tomorrow, not next month, not next year. The Christian life is a journey, not an instant destination. You will stumble. You will have bad days. There will be weeks where it seems like you've gone backward. But if you look back in a year, in 5 years, you will realize that something has changed. Not because you were strong, but because God was faithful. Comment below, "I'm in the process." If this resonated with you, leave a like so this video reaches more people who need to hear this. Now, how do you truly distinguish genuine faith from superficial faith? It's not with a list of habits. It's with something deeper. A superficial Christian trusts in what he does. He feels secure because he reads the Bible, because he prays, because he goes to church, because he doesn't commit certain sins. When he fails, his security crumbles because it was based on himself. A true Christian trusts in what Christ did. He reads the Bible, prays, and goes to church, but that's not what sustains his salvation. It's the sacrifice of Jesus. When he fails, he suffers, but he runs back to God instead of running away, because he knows that his acceptance doesn't depend on his performance. A superficial Christian is bothered when caught. He fears the shame, the exposure, the judgment of others. A true Christian is bothered before being caught. He feels a weight in his heart, even when no one has seen. Because it is not the opinion of others that moves him. It is his relationship with God. A superficial Christian wants God's blessings. A true Christian wants God, and blessings become a consequence, not an objective. This difference is subtle, but it changes everything. If you've made it this far and are thinking, "Okay, so what do I do with all this?" Here's the solution. First, stop measuring your faith by what you feel. Feelings are unstable. Some days you will feel God close, some days you won't. That doesn't change the reality of what God has done for you. Your salvation doesn't depend on your emotions. It depends on God's faithfulness. Second, when you sin, and you will sin, don't run away from God. Run to Him. The natural tendency is to hide, to distance yourself, to stop praying, to stop reading. I don't deserve to talk to God right now. But it is precisely at that moment that you need Him most. God doesn't wait for you to cleanse yourself to receive you. He receives you dirty and cleanses you. Third, replace paralyzing guilt with transformative conviction. Guilt keeps you stuck, staring at the mistake. Conviction lifts you up and moves you forward. When you make a mistake, acknowledge it, confess it, and get up. No drama, no self-punishment, no torturing yourself for 3 days before praying again. You confess, you get up, you move on. That's how grace works. And fourth, seek real community, not perfect people, honest people. People who also struggle, who also fall, who also have doubts, but who walk together. Faith wasn't made to be lived alone. If you've watched this video this far, I want you to listen to this carefully. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to feel God in every prayer. You don't need to have a perfect spiritual life to be a true Christian. What makes you true isn't the absence of struggle, it's the direction of your heart. It's where you run when you fall. It's the discomfort you feel when you drift away. It's the fact that even after everything, you still want God. If you are struggling right now, if you are confused, if you are wondering if your faith is real, that may be exactly the sign that it is alive. Because dead people don't feel pain. Dead people don't fight. Dead people don't seek. You are searching, and that says more about your faith than any list of habits ever could. God hasn't given up on you. He wasn't surprised by your flaws. He knew about each one of them before choosing you, and He chose you anyway. The process isn't over. The seed is growing, and one day you'll look back and see the tree that God planted in you. If this video touched your heart, comment, "My faith is alive." Leave a like to help this video reach more people who need to hear this. And watch the next video that's appearing on your screen now. It will delve even deeper into what we talked about here. See you there.